A number of people have sent me and mentioned to me some discussions that took place this week, I'm pretty sure it was, at the Post-Primary Teachers Association conference. And the PPTA are a union, basically, for secondary school teachers. They're strongly aligned with the left of New Zealand politics and wokeism. And there are a raft of issues for discussion at the PPTA conference about school counselling and gender issues or sexuality issues in school. In fact, some could say they seem quite obsessed by it. So what are they proposing? And what do others outside the woke union of the PPTA think about it? We're joined now by Fern Hickson, who is with the group Resist Gender Education. Fern, thanks for joining us.
Hi, Sean.
All right, so what have the good members of the PPTA been discussing in relation to sex counselling and gender education in our secondary schools?
Well, they've got their annual conference on in Wellington at the moment, the 1st to the 3rd of October, and there's two particular motions that are to be voted on at the conference that concern us. The first one is to set up a paid role for a teacher, which is called Queer Community Liaison. So that's to be a paid position that will be negotiated through the collective agreement.
Just get it, Queer Community Liaison.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
every school would have a queer community liaison officer.
Yeah, it would be a long process because it has to be voted in at the conference. Yeah. That's highly likely to happen.
Yeah.
And then it has to go into the negotiations for the collective agreement along with all the other improvements that the union might be wanting to get from the ministry. And so then it has to be approved by the ministry. So it wouldn't be an immediate role, but their dream role is that someone would be released from their classroom teaching time for a certain amount a week, probably 4 hours a week or 8 hours a week. And in that time, they would be able to assist the LGBTQ students in the school. But
who would they liaise with in the community? How do you identify this community?
Well, the trouble with the label that they've given it is it's completely open-ended, and there was a meeting in Auckland where 30 or 40 teachers met in last week, and they almost unanimously voted for this role, but nobody was really sure about what the role was. Was it to help the students, or was it to re-educate the parents into accepting their students?
All right, would those queer community liaison teachers have to be queer?
No, it said that it would be preferable, but they wouldn't have to be.
So they'd
probably
rather,
because there's just not enough of them.
Is there, okay, what else are they proposing besides the queer community liaison officers, or is that the major change?
That's the one that concerns us the most. The other one is about changing the language in the PPTA constitution so it's gender neutral.
Well, that's up to the PPTA, isn't it?
Removing all the she and he and him and her and replacing them with they. So in some places that does actually make it easier to read the constitution, but it's totally driven by ideology.
It's woke. Let's just be honest, Fern, it's woke. I'm just wondering about the queer community liaison officers. So every school would have a queer. So you basically be inviting the queer community into the school to what?
Well, what concerns us is that so this role, in our view, creates two negative effects. The first one is that it creates a special class of students who are seen to deserve superior attention, and it diverts resources to them while ignoring all the needs of, the many other needs of students. So there's this special class that needs its own teacher, to look after it. And that teacher, there's because it's only a proposal at the moment, there's no, it's all open-ended, nobody knows what that
I haven't seen parents
doing.
Or students marching in the street for queer community liaison officers. I don't think
this
I've ever met a parent who said, there's just not enough queer liaison going on in my kid's school.
Exactly. This is all a top-down push. It's not a grassroots thing.
Yeah.
It's unfortunately too many teachers have got captivated by activist slogans, and they truly believe that LGBTQ students are the most vulnerable and the most bullied, which there's no evidence that that's true.
No.
They're not disproportionately bullied. There's plenty of other reasons why students are bullied, and they're now stepping outside the role of a teacher. So teachers are not trained to give medical advice to students, but we know that in some schools, kids are being provided with information about puberty blockers and about breast binders, and even being directed where they can go to get hormonal treatments. And we've seen one school offering.
This group tried to recruit my son into being gay when he was at school, at intermediate school. I can remember it clearly, and unfortunately a friend of his was recruited, and she was mutilated by doctors. And
I think it's really important to clarify that this isn't about being gay. This is about being transgender.
Yeah.
They use the LGBTQ acronym as a cover because most people are accepting of same-sex relationships now.
Yeah.
But actually, this queer liaison officer would be focusing on the trans completely.
All right. Fern, when is this going to be voted on, do you know?
Well, the conference is on at the moment, so I don't know if it could be voted on today or tomorrow.
And do you know if there's within the PPTA any opposition to it?
Very little. In fact, we question how democratic this is because we do, in our group, we do have people who are members of the PPTA, and at the branches where they are, none of the motions for the conference were even discussed in the branch. So for the people from those branches who are going to the conference are going with their own views, not with the democratic.
But Fern, the truth is the PPTA does not set educational school policies. So this might just be a great virtue signal, right? That isn't ever going to come into effect.
Oh, yes. I'd say that it'd be quite far down the list of things that they'll achieve in a collective agreement.